Ofer Benoon, thank you so much for joining me. Startup Nation United. Very difficult days for us to do while we're doing this recording on October 29th. Past 3 weeks. I don't think any of us could have expected them the way they are. Your company and you as an entrepreneur, as a serial entrepreneur, you're the focal point of the Startup Nation story and the ecosystem. And big inspiration to many, both entrepreneurs, investors, and employees can testify and inspiration for myself. So I'm very interested in hearing how you've adapted over the last 3 weeks, how you've experienced what's been happening here. Your company is a hyper growth company in the Israeli cybersecurity scene, and so obviously this is hugely relevant. And the day today is October 29th, and it's 3 weeks after the everything that happened. So, Ofer, again, thank you for being here. Tell me, right before we get started into the context of the war and what happened, who are you in a couple words, and tell me a little bit about Talon.
Sure. So, hi. First, definitely really, really complicated few weeks. It's been I think none of us in our worst nightmares could have been expecting that or imagining that. Each one of us obviously knows someone or knows someone who knows many, or many that know someone. None of us could have imagined this. So obviously our prayers are for the ones that hopefully will come back soon to Israel more than anything else. And our hearts goes with the families that have lost someone. So super complicated days, sad more than anything else. Hoping for much better and stable days. My name is Ofer Benoon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Talon. Talon is a secure enterprise browser. We've been the pioneer of this newly formed category. We have today about 140 employees globally. We have many dozens of customers today, and the logic of Talon is when everything is moving to the web, the browser is becoming actually the entry point for the organization and kind of the choke point for everything that our employees, contractor, third party are doing when touching pretty much our data. So instead of surrounding the browser with so many different security tools, we are actually shifting from the browser as the problem to having it actually the solution for the global workforce and all of the employees in the organization and externals. Providing everything from web security, data leakage prevention, insider threat, device posture, etc. Was bringing the top enterprise browser to the market. So that's
yeah. Well, it's I'll just mention for context, because we have a lot of people that are tuning in that are not from necessarily the Israeli ecosystem. All for you as an entrepreneur, and the company itself is really it's the Startup Nation story. We've had stories of Netafim in the older ages and the different inspiring Israeli companies that have emerged, and you're really a representation of the newly emerging, the new generation of inspiring Startup Nation companies. So thank you, first of all, for that, as I mentioned before. But, take me to where you were on October 7th, in the morning, everything that happened. And then I'm very curious to hear, what's going through your mind now as a CEO, as a leader of a 140-person organization. What's happening, and how do you even navigate through that?
So it was Saturday morning. And typically, because most of our customers are in the US, so I typically work quite late. So I remember working until 3 a.m. on a Friday night, planning to wake up at around probably 9 a.m. On Saturday. 7 a.m. My wife Dana wakes me up. Offer, you have to wake up. You'll not believe what's happening. I said, what? Said, oh, it seems like terrorists from Hamas organization have been penetrating into Israel and conducting massacres. It doesn't make sense to me. And then the news come in and the videos of on social networks, and you understand that this nightmare that I initially thought is just a nightmare um, is the reality, and it was unbelievable. So after you were trying to grasp the situation and to understand that this is not just imagination, you remind yourself, okay, I just a second, I need now to see that everyone from my employees are okay from everything that is the family, right? Everything that happens around the friends. All right, so kind of you immediately try to get a grasp of, okay, let's move from the shock into operational mode. Understanding that everything is up in terms of the systems, the customers, everything is perfect in terms of the service, the company, and as fast as possible to make sure that everyone around us are okay, and to start, immediate communication. So you have a lot of employees that obviously live in the south of Israel, and to make sure that we get as wide communication as possible and to assess the situation. And we've been quite fortunate to know that no one from first degree of the company employees have been harmed, and that was a big relief. Yeah, that was mainly our October 7th.
So perhaps grateful that nobody from were first party harmed, but I think part of the what we've all experienced is that every person in Israel and every person connected to Serb Nation knows firsthand somebody that was directly impacted. And so all of a sudden you have, as a leader, an organization with a lot of people that are now dealing with this. What do you do as a leader at that moment? What do you communicate? How are you starting to even plan what are you going to do over the next few days and weeks? Because like you mentioned, you have customers all over the world, hyper growth company, eye is on you, right? Spotlight right now. What do you do?
So I think the second that we kind of understood the situation, then we tried to understand, okay, how do we operate? And then we kind of had three different verticals that we've been operating on. The first one is making sure that we are 100% of the business continuity, that all of our systems, everything works as expected. And I'll touch this in a couple of minutes. The second vertical is around supporting our employees. At the end of the day, we have full responsibility for them, and we need to make sure that we can support them in the best possible way. And the third one is, as an Israeli company, we want to support as best as we can the Israeli population and making pretty much the challenges that everyone here are facing, and the people who are now in a much bigger challenge compared to us, as much of support and aid as we can. And I can touch each one of the three verticals.
Well, let's go into them one by one, and I'd love to dive deeper into these three verticals and how you've thought through them, and then operationally also what you did, and more tactical on the ground.
Perfect. So let's start with kind of the business operations. I think you have been a little bit probably more fortunate because the company is a little bit more in a growth phase. So today we are already a global company. We have about 40, 50 people outside of Israel. So that allowed us to operate a little bit faster and stronger, making sure that pretty much there is no harm at all in the service that we provide our customers. So the focus of business continuity, of course, and resiliency is critical in this situation. We made sure that abroad employees are covering completely for the Israeli ones. So anywhere or the sales operations, customer success is happening mainly right now in the different regions. And the other side is to make sure that we have enough of DevOps capacity and engineering outside of Israel for anything else that is needed. Having after that, you have kind of make sure I have everything that is needed operationally. The second stage is to make sure that we also communicate this and give this comfort to our customers, because while we say and feel, hey, everything is okay and stable, not necessarily our customers understand the same, and they need that assurance as well. So,
And I'm sure that everybody's looking at the news, and the whole world is. This is, we've become a spotlight for the entire world right now. So I can only imagine the daily phone calls and emails that you're getting. And even if you're not getting them, that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, so I can tell you the customers have been amazing. Amazing. Like I couldn't have imagined better. The only thing that they've communicated with me in the first few days is, hey, how are you? Is everything okay? Is there anything that we can support? Like, honestly, I think in the first 24 hours, no one have communicated with me asking, is the company still functional? The only communication was, hey, we've seen this. We're supporting you guys. Can we do something for you? Which has been amazing. We're by far the best customers someone can ever imagine. Having said that, we made sure that our customer success teams are communicating with each and every single one of our customers. We have issued a newsletter explaining how we are making sure that our business continuity and resilience is 100%, and also written a blog so anyone can see the activities and get the comfort. But I think that there are kind of the two sides. You need to make sure that everything is okay, but also you need to communicate it well to reduce the discomfort or the concerns on the customer side. I can tell you that also I feel that for many of the employees, also to myself, focusing on work really allows me to distract myself a little bit from the sad reality. And I find that this is really helpful for many. Because watching the news all day long not necessarily helps the mental situation of anyone. So you need to kind of balance that in a way. And I feel that right now, 3 weeks in, we're really able to find the routine that allows us to work and operate alongside this situation. Right. Because again, it's going to end tomorrow.
Now, yeah, I know that you've also taken a very concrete action internally and organizationally to support your employees. And it wasn't just, okay, guys, business as usual, do your best and hope and, take some vacation if you need some time off. You've actually been very proactive with providing the tools and the environment, the atmosphere, whether it's from the infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, and I'd love to talk about that, but also supportive infrastructure from the professional side. So I'd love to understand a little bit what did you do as an organization to support the ability for people to not just continue the business continuity, but to support their mental continuity and get the support that they need?
Sure. Yeah. So we have today about 20% of the company in reserve duty, right? I think that we are relatively the average age, I think, in the company is probably 32, I want to say, maybe even a little bit less. So a lot of people are still in active reserves. And we need to make sure that these people and their families, first and for all, are getting the support to operate. Because, again, it's really challenging situation. Like, just imagine young family with 2-3 kids, where the mother or the father is now abroad for 3 weeks. It's really, really, really complicated, right? So making sure that they get this support. And here my HR and operations have been phenomenal. They have immediately understood, okay, how can we support this team members? So there is constant communication with the people at the front, with the people at reserves, which are the back, and most important, with their families. So asking the significant other, do you need anything? Can we help in something? Knowing that a lot of them are in really, really challenging times, and also to support practice in practice. Every week we are sending either coupon for weekend meals or complete supermarket grocery boxes. Make sure, do you need anything, or even if you don't, we are sending things to support the families, knowing how challenging these few weeks are for anyone. The second area is that the office has been open from day one. We have a very, very large sheltered area actually, because all of the minus one floor, the basement floor, is actually a sheltered area. And in this area, we've also brought everyday babysitter to the office. So employees with young kids can bring their kids to work, knowing that.
You've brought babysitters to the office. Wow, that's incredible. And the context is, for anybody who doesn't know, the schools have been closed. And so little kids have they're staying at home. And so a lot of people who even would want to go to work, they can't because they have to take care of their kids. Okay, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, we've done it actually, I think, from this second day or from the third day, I think from Tuesday, already we had a babysitter in the office. Just understanding that some of our employees, that the significant other have been called to reserve, it's extremely complicated. Even the ones that have not, actually, just so complicated, especially that this happens after the holidays. So when you have like long duration that the kids have been at home, and that was quite challenging for all of the young parents. The third area is, we always had to have communication with their broad teams, because also the Talon team in the US, in Europe, none of them, or at least most of them, have not went through similar situations in the past. So for us, it's unfortunate, but this is the routine of our life, going through these challenges. But for them, like they were not even sure, hey, what's going on here in Israel? Can these people operate? So we have created internal communication team that is holding a call every few days with the global team to explain what is happening here, to explain how our day-to-day looks like here in Israel, and also to provide some information on kind of the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So to make sure that our global team is educated, that they know a bit of the history and also know how to support us. For example, we try to help them how to better communicate with the Israeli team. They asked, how can we know if you guys have been are available or not? So we made sure that all of this, which to us seems like, let's say, more, I would say, regular, for them, they know how to operate in this situation. And the last thing that I think is the most important thing that we've done is to help with the mental support for the employees. So every single one of the employees is now having super complicated time. If you know of people that have been killed or have been kidnapped, or you have family that are in this situation, or just people that are struggling, even if they don't have anyone first or second degree, but just really complex. So we had resilience session with clinical psychologists. We had several options for intimate one-on-one conversation with both clinical psychologists and organizational consultant. And there are actually professional experts available for our team members for these type of areas of personal resilience, PTSD, to give them the tools to cope with the situation and to be able to operate in it.
First of all, phenomenal all around, and I love how intentional you're at with all of this. It's I think it's a really just the intentionality behind your rationale and your thinking about why you're making these efforts and the impact these efforts have, and how it trickles down to the subjective individual experience of every employee, and you're taking into account not only the Israeli employees but also the global ones, and how do you then make sure that there is active communication up to the point of, okay, how do we know if you're available? How do we know if we can, we're, when are we keeping business as usual as when we're not, especially because of everything that's so unpredictable, all the way to obviously the mental the mental aspect of things and the resilience aspect of how you've been supporting. So that's, I think, really fantastic. I'm curious also, what did you learn about your company during this time? What did you learn about Talon? What did you learn about yourself? I'm sure it's an interesting time to to think back, after this crazy 3 weeks.
I think the thing that I've learned more than anything else, that this is a group of amazing human beings, more than anything else by far. Because even if I'm looking at the third vertical of the positive impact that we have done on the Israeli population, this is the thing that have made me the most emotional. I'll give you just an example. This week, the team is going to volunteer in activities in the center of Israel, actually helping in cucumber harvest, because a lot of the people that used to do this work and to help harvesting all of the goods that are coming for the ground, a lot of them are actually left Israel or not willing to go and work in the field. And the team said, look, there are now people that have been dramatically negatively impacted by the situation. So we'll go probably a couple of thousands of people to support doing this physical work, to support people who've just been less stable and less fortunate from us compared to us in this situation. We have donated throughout these last 3 weeks to organizations and companies that are working actually in the south of Israel, and some of these companies have completely been shut down and tried to get back to operation. So we help them with IT equipment, financial donation, United Hatzalah, Farza Community, Zaka, which are working with the dead, kibbutz movement for the kibbutz around the border, and we've also generated a plan which each company employee that donates money to one of these organizations, the company doubles this donation. So really the ability is to provide as many support as possible to organizations that need support right now and have been less fortunate because, the challenges of cybersecurity have not been reduced, and the fact that we can, as high-tech cyber people can work from everywhere. But, it's not the situation of every business. The amount of businesses that have been dramatically impacted is huge. So I feel that in a way, if we can help becoming the backbone to support organizations that have been less fortunate, then I think it's our obligation. And the last area is to try and support, bring a lot of the information of what really happens here in Israel and around the border to the world, because I've seen many people who are saying, hey, we don't believe that this is the reality. These people in Israel are making up some of these stories. It's not really what happened. So also a lot of the global team members and the team in Israel make sure that this information about the reality is being spread to the world. And the part of the reason why it's so important, because this allows Israel the legitimacy to execute on the tasks which are now needed in order to destroy Hamas and to make sure that the civil population in Israel would not be under this ongoing threat anymore. So a lot of things, but
A lot of things.
more than other things, I'm so proud of these human beings that are forming Talon. The fact that the US team cares every day, covering for their Israeli team, European team, the same. They actually have done donations to support the activities that are right now happening in Israel to say, hey, no population should go through the things that you guys and girls have went through during the last few weeks, and we stand beside you, helping good fight against evil. So,
Ofer, this was such a privilege hearing how you've been dealing with this over the last 3 weeks. I think that it really just speaks to the testament of this ecosystem that we're in. While you're in the growth stage and you're so incredibly busy, and you have a global team and global company, you're obviously you're just as devoted into this collective effort, and not only pushing Talon as a backbone of cybersecurity in nation, but in Israel, but also as a shining light on how organizations can be supportive of the ecosystem, both internally to its internal members, but also to the ecosystem at large, and both from what you're going to do this week, but overall the efforts you've done working with other organizations, donations, and so all across the board. I'm leaving this conversation just very inspired. So thank you very much, making me think of what my role as a leader and my role as a CEO, how I communicate and the things that I do. So thank you already for that, and continue making a positive impact. And thank you again for the inspiration.
thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.